In front of you is the new and improved VK7201K, the Tier 10 German tech-tree heavy tank that is opposite of grinding the E100. In today's video, I'll be doing a full review of this tank's new consumables, provisions, and how you should be running this tank on the battlefield. Also, if it's worth it to actually grind this vehicle or play it if it's sitting in your garage. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Starting off with the consumables. Now, I am running adrenaline and tungsten rounds. Why? Yes, it is very important to run 2 repair kits on German super heavies, especially a vehicle like the VK72 that quite commonly gets tracked when it pulls around a corner, especially if you have tanks like 57 heavies or AMX 50Bs clipping you. But at the same time, the VK72 has some of the worst DPM in Tier 10. In fact, it is the worst DPM, unless you're counting the Kron, but that's a bit different because it's an auto-reloader. This vehicle's DPM is absolute trash. So, if you're running tungsten shells and adrenaline, you're boosting your DPM by actually quite a decent chunk, around 2500 effectively if you're using these every moment you can, which is actually pretty decent and comparable to other tier 10 heavy tanks. So, that makes the VK72 a lot more enjoyable, especially for me when I love the big alpha, but now I can hit even harder and have that extra bit of DPM. For provisions, obviously I'm always running chocolate. You need that 10% crew mastery, get an extra 100 DPM, all that, but as well, I'm running enhanced sandbag armor to get 156 extra hit points, so now I'm sitting at 2900. I could run another armor and get another 78, but nah, it's not really that important. I would not suggest to put it at 3000 flat. Instead, I would suggest to run improved gunpowder. Why do I run improved gunpowder? Well, a lot of times, these big German super heavies do mess up with the shell velocity. Their guns just kind of derp out with it. So, if you're running improved gunpowder, then you don't need to run supercharge on your aiming time, and if you do, then it's going to be insane. But I have taken the liberty of running gunpowder, so then I can run enhanced gun laying drive on my equipment, and I can run V-stabs and have a much better overall aiming time and experience. Finally, I have changed what was consumable delivery system, which gives you a 15% cooldown speed, to high-end consumables, which makes them last 30% longer. Why? Well, I noticed a couple times when playing this tank, or at least in the first battle, that it was very hard to get out the second shell with tungsten on because your reload is very close to the overall tungsten itself. So yeah, you gotta really squeeze in that shell. If you're running high-end consumables though, your tungsten shells goes up to 26 seconds of duration, which means you have plenty of time to aim in a shot. So yeah, 2 shots of tungsten, that's 1400 damage you're getting out. That's pretty beefy. Either way, let's get straight into the gameplay. I've played 3 battles in the tank today. As you can see, these are the only 3 battles I've played yet with the new update, and I thought I would showcase 2 of the battles because they really showed how the VK72 performs pretty dang well. In fact, one of them is a mastery. So what do we have up against us? We got a 60 TP, 4005, Grill 15, M48 Patton, WZ121, Conf Panzer 70 ton, and a WZ111-14. Now, if you're wondering what your alpha damage is when you're using the tungsten shells and it's activated, it is around 740 for an AP shell and 1100 with an HE shell. I would highly suggest that you save your tungsten for HE specific targets. If you are able to land an HE, you're going to ruin their day. I mean, think about it. An 1100 hit point tank, you have the pretty high possibility of one-shotting as long as you have your tungsten active. If it's a, Grill 15 not running SPAL or a 4005, I mean, it's insane what you can get away with using tungsten shells. Now, what I'm going to do here is pull right up to the WZ111-14, and you're going to see me activate my tungsten. Boom! 730 damage in a one-shot. Now, it's not going to make a huge difference because I need the second shell to kill this guy anyway, but I thought I would just activate it to showcase where that alpha just really, really hits hard. So there you go, finishing off the WZ111, and we get a nice bounce from the grill as well. What I will say, from just the 3 battles I've played in it, is that yes, tungsten is very nice, but it doesn't seem like it makes a huge difference in the overall gameplay. It might stop people from pushing on you, but if you expose this tank in the open, you're still going to be absolutely clapped. And honestly, I think the E100 for a lot of situations is still a better vehicle. The E100 has the same hit points, but it doesn't sacrifice its provisions and as well its equipment and everything so that it can have tungsten shells viable, and it doesn't sacrifice, its You can run, I think, the chocolate on it as well, which you can't really run on this because obviously I'm running the improved gunpowder. So there are differences between the two vehicles, and I will say that the E100 is still a lot more suitable for a lot of different situations, but from the games I've played in the VK782 as well, the tank has done very well, and now that you can have 2,900 hit points, it feels a lot better as well. So there you go, nice slap into the lower plate of the 60 TP. That's brought us over 3,000 damage already, and now I'm just face-hugging this guy. The VK in a face-hug is a fantastic vehicle because, I mean, all this guy's going to try and do is shoot my turret cheeks, but you can't really do that if I aim my gun into you, can you? Try and aim at his hatch, but nah, looks like the 4005 or Yag Tiger are going to finish him out right before I'm able to even get a shell into his hatch. So the enemy has 2 tanks left. They got a WZ-121 and an FV-4005, and I'm going to have my tungsten shells back in 2 seconds. So you're going to see just where the tungsten hits differently. Let's skip a little bit ahead here. Here comes the FV-4005, and tungsten activated, boom, 717 damage. I don't even need to load HE shells, just fire a standard shot because that's what tungsten can reliably do, is just finish off the 4005. And over here, I've got the 121, so I've put on my adrenaline, I've got my tungsten, and here we are, oh mama, 743. So that gave me an extra, what, 200 damage this game? It's great. I mean, tungsten feels very, very nice on this tank. We were able to deal 4,600 damage, and that's pretty good, especially for a tank that has absolutely horrendous damage per minute. So that was a very solid battle. Let's break into the second game, though, which was definitely one of the craziest. But this game is really going to showcase that tungsten really doesn't do a whole lot for this vehicle to change your entire game. It's nice, and it does get that extra alpha out, but I don't feel like it's a huge game changer apart from the HE. Sure, if you slap an HE and you get an extra 200 out, that is insane. But for the AP, yeah, it hits hard, but this tank hits so hard already. I find that most of the time when you already hit somebody for that 740, they are most likely a one-shot as it is from the second shell for how slow you are to get in the battle. It will be nice for heavy brawls, and I think it'll be nice for comp, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around how I feel it's going to be for pubs. So there you go, nice snap on the move onto that 50 TP, and my Yo gets 2 slappers right into his tank. Since the Yo pens those 2 shots and there's nobody else being detected, I basically take my idea of I'm just going to push this guy. So here we go, pushing up to the 50 TP. I don't want to be shot by him, so I'm going to aim in on his hatch and boop. There you go, 50 TP is taken out. His Royal Flatness. Very interesting name. Either way, I'm going to push up, and now we are going to see who was in base C. Alright, well, what does the enemy team have? They got a Badger, they got an FV-25 B183, an Object 268 Vickers Light, M5Yo, and an M46 Patton. So, they don't have the strongest of lineups, especially that we've cleared one of their stronger tier 9s, and they kind of got screwed on their tier 10 lineup because we got 2 tier 10 heavies, and they didn't get any tier 10 heavies. They got tank destroyers, oh boy, so yeah, that's kind of unfair. But we get one big ol' slap in with tungsten, and now we're going to reload again. That 183 bounces me right in the track wheel, and thankfully I saved my repair kit, so we've got it ready for use. And there you go, another slap into that Yo. But as you can see, I kind of max rolled that shot, so tungsten didn't help me out all too much with those shells. Alright, well, that Yo is not enjoying life with his 95 hit points. We got the Patton off to the side, and while my vehicle may not have a lot of DPM, I know when it's smart to clear somebody, and I'd rather clear a very high DPM tier 9 than leave it alive to, you know, farm me if I'm trying to deal with this V183 later. So let's get our shells back into the gun, and let's see, our Object 84 is pushing up. He got very lucky that 183 missed him, let's be honest here. That Object should have lost a lot of health, even if the 183 only fired an AP shell, still around 900. Here comes our Grill, gets a big slap in, thank you very much Grill, and with that, this battle's not looking too bad and too good for the team. Right now it's looking pretty even. The Yo's a one-shot, so that guy's going to be pretty easy to clear, and Object finishes him off. Perfect. Alright, we know where the Vickers Light is, I know where the Badger is, and right now looks like the Badger is who I'm going to shoot at. I'm going to load a heat shell, and you can see I can penetrate right through the boobs, so I'm going to let my gun aim in. Thankfully, because I'm running gunpowder, I didn't sacrifice that aiming time, so there you go. Nice penetration, and with that, the Badger is now down to 750 hit points. So, if I had my tungsten active, yeah, it was possible that I could have killed him. But with 500 hit points now, it's not too much of a worry, because the Badger's looking at the Object, and boom, he is cleared. Now, my Object 84... is gonna die, and I don't even know how my grill dies. I'm gonna be honest, I have no clue how he dies, but I'm just gonna push up towards the Vickers Light and see if I can get some shells in. I know they have a 268 somewhere, and even if the 268 kills me, it's not too much of a worry for me. There's the 268, so he is spotted. Thank you. We got the Vickers shooting at my grill, and my grill's a one-shot, and the Vickers finishes him off. Great. Well, good news is that I can get a shell into the 268, but the 268 finishes off my teammate in the process. This is not a great situation for me, because that's a Vickers Light, and I'm in a very slow heavy in Supremacy. But I'm right next to the base capture, which gives me a big advantage, because I'm just going to drive into this base cap, and this Vickers needs to figure out what he's going to do, and very, very quickly, because all I need to do is get the base caps, and oof, another big slap with tungsten. But again, it doesn't really make a huge difference, because even if I'd fired a standard shell there, the guy still would have been a one-shot with an HE shell every time. So, yeah, you can see where I don't think tungsten makes the biggest of differences in every battle, but either way, there you go. We get the base cap, which is perfect, because now I'm going to start going up a lot more, and he's not. And we know that the Vickers is probably going to cross here, so I'm just sort of looking, making sure I spot him. Yes, beautiful. Didn't want to waste the shot yet. We're going to drive over towards here, and the Vickers is going to obviously drive through, so aiming, and shell just flies a little bit forward. I'm still used to the old shell velocity of the E100 and VK72. I need to get used to it with tungsten and gunpowder, because, well, not tungsten, but just gunpowder, because now the shell velocity is more like a medium. So yeah, got to be a little bit careful on that. But the good news is I pushed the Vickers out of the base cap, so even if this guy was to try and do anything at this point, he can't win. Even if he caps a base, I'm way ahead of him on base cap, and we cleared him, so perfect. This was a 6,035 damage game, and it showcased where the VK is a very solid vehicle. Could the E100 have done everything I did in this game? Yeah, but I think the E100 could have bled a lot more due to the very weak turret armor. I like the VK72, and I've always liked it, especially more than the E100. Let me know what you guys think about this tank in the comments down below, but damn, does this vehicle feel strong, especially with the improved gunpowder and the enhanced sandbag armor. Tungsten, but definitely the other two. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Bye-bye.